you take it away. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Cool, thank you. So, hi everyone. I'm Yixuan Chang. I'm a member of the UCL Department of Geography, and today I would like to present this case study in Sheskinmore. And before begin, I want to introduce actually we got a very amazing website called the Friends of Sheskinmore. You see the logo here. That's showing all the posts about this natural reserve site and managed by National Park and Wildlife Service. So just more information about the site. Sheskinmore Natural Reserve is one of the most important natural reserve in Ireland. It is designated as the special protected area, special area conservation, and it's also home of multi-listed habitat and species. So it is a very remote site. It's not very much disturbed by the human intervention, and it's a complex system consists of the sandy beach, the sand dune, the wetland, the lake, and also we have identified more than 6 discrete water bodies across the Macklemore Dune site, which are shown on the top map, and it's also the area of my main focus of my research. So aims and objective of this study. So in terms of my broader PhD research, I want to understand the ecohydrology of the human dune slag, which and for this site specifically, it's dominated by secondary slag, which are the erosional flooded depression within an existing dune system. So in other words, they are the flooded blowouts. That means to understand how those hydrological features are evolved, I first need to understand the geomorphological history bearing it. But limited by the data availability of this site, the study examines blowout development and reclamation only from since the 1950s by identifying the change in its morphology and the vegetation coverage, and mainly use the historical aerial images. So this map down here is a map from 1907. That's the earliest map we can find. It's showing some of the contours and indicating some of the high dune ridges. However, there's no significant erosion features. Also, it worth noticing that this area is called the Rabbit Warren by that time. So then it's up onto the 1951 when we got the first clear aerial image from the Irish aircraft, and it can be clearly seen they are erosional features across the sand dunes, and also by that time this dune was not much vegetated and mainly dominated by bare sand. Then we got the second map available on 1977. However, this map is relatively low in resolution and are hard to identify the exact boundary of each feature, but I can still see the vegetation start to secession on top of the bare sands. Then it's a 1994 map, again low in resolution, but can still see there's more vegetation cover across the site. Then we got to the 21st century. Luckily, we start having the aerial photographs. This one has relatively high resolution, and I'm able to mapping using this one. And this site is now mainly covered by vegetated dunes. And from this year onward, they are frequently we can actually get satellite image for every year since. And just to making the period of analysis reasonable, we select decadal scale. So the next satellite image we select is this one from 2011. And the final one is the Google Map image from 2022, sorry. And they're also combined with another survey we took. We generated DEM and ultramosaic from the drone service on 2023 for the west side only. That's this side of the dune. And then here are the data and matrices using for this analyze. There's 4 years of aerial image being being manually mapped, and they are two stations from Matt Ireland been selected for wind analysis, and then the other are either directly derived from QGIS or the matrices determined using the MATLAB script. So as some results, this one is a summary of mapped geomorphology for each year of the 4 years and also indicated the number of blowouts. It noticed that there are a rapid increase in the number of blowouts from the 1950s to 2000, together with massive erosion on the south boundary of the site. So the large area of the beach here have been eroded. And there also, on the west side, there are a large area of primary dunes, like which are the parallel dunes, parallel depressions to the coastlines are developed. Then it's yeah, then it's about the mapped vegetation cover. So in terms, they are largely shifted from bare sand and semi-bare sand dominated to the vegetated dune, with a floodplain developed on the southeast side as a deposit from the lake outflow here. And the number of ponds increased doubled from the 1950s to the 2000, as some of the ponds on the south side has disappeared, but larger number of new ponds are developed on the west side. So other statistics. So in terms of the landform, the deflicated surface are transformed into vegetated dune, and the large active area of active fault dune on south side has been eroded. On the right-hand side, the vegetated dune area doubled in the 70 years as the bare sand and semi-bare sand are transformed to the vegetated surface. And then by comparing the entire dune system and specifically like mapped blowout, the same trends are found. So the doubled vegetation cover and not much change in terms of the wet surface, the pond area. So some findings for that 70 years, there's a development of both existing blowouts and the initiation of new blowouts. There are increased colonization by vegetation, saying there's numbers. So that's also found in previous studies by June 2024. So both he's saying the dunes in United Kingdom have shifted from mobile to fairly continuous vegetation cover. And this applies also to other Irish dune systems. And as stated, other findings include the southeast side boundary. There was a floodplain being formed, expanded fault dune on the west side, and primary dune stacks also formed. The massive shoreline erosion across the along the south boundary have been, we are able to use the two poor resolution maps on the 1977 and 1995 to identify that this big erosion has actually happened along the, across the 1980s. Additional to that, so what driven all these changes? We think about the wind direction. So there are two map weather station. One is Marlin Head, and the other one, sorry, I can't pronounce the name. We're lucky to have the wind data of wind speed and direction since the 1950s for those both stations. There's nearest map station with the wind data, and so it noticed that from it actually having a small shift from the west dominated to slightly more southwesterly dominated. This change in wind direction also finding same trends in terms of shifting in blowout orientation, as it's largely impacted by the wind orientation and speed. So from the 1950s to the 2023, there's a shift from both westerly and southerly dominated blowouts to southwesterly dominated. But we are also thinking apart from the wind impact, there could be also the eroded South Beach and foreground, allowing the wind coming from the northwest also reaches the back dune system, can also could be a possible cause of the shift in blowout. And then there's another factor we're considering is finally it's the rabbit, because this site was identified as rabbit warren in the earliest map. And we know that in the 1950s, the virus has been introduced to Ireland just to control the number of rabbit. There's also a very interesting study here was conducted in the same site 2 years ago, talking about using the satellite imagery to map the entrance of rabbit warren. If you're interested, please look at the paper. And in terms of, as a conclusion, the significant change across the site highlighted the high variability within the central networks. And although there are limited historical data, we are still able to find methods to reconstruct the past landform and their histories. And this site, Sheskinmore, has undergone substantial transform over the past decades and tending towards a more fixed and more children. And they are other works I would like to do in the future, including combine the DGPS and DM data for 3D analysis, and including some PCA and multivariate analysis and so on. So there's a still bit ongoing work, and thanks for listening. There's some references.
Brilliant.